evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest, the only show where sabermetrics meet sarcasm and emotional breakdowns are considered part of the analytics package. I'm your host, Jim Delfino, and yes, I just watched the Red Sox bullpen try to give the Royals this game that was once a one sided, half expected the mercy rule to kick in. Joining me tonight, he's baseball's answer to an unpaid therapist, Nick Face, a man who once gave a bullpen session a D minus and meant it. He breaks down trades like he's running detention for underperforming prospects, and don't even get him started on bunting. Seriously, he once yelled at a little league coach for trying a safety squeeze at a charity game. He's the
And
only
then I
per-
got banned.
He's the only person who's ever made Craig Breslow both cry and reconsider front office lifestyle in the same tweet thread. Joining me, as always, is the analytics sorcerer himself, Nick Diamond, baseball's only man brave enough to boo StatCast in public. Nick once got kicked out of a trivia night for correcting the host's spin rate calculation. He treats WRC Plus like a zodiac sign and thinks BABIP is short for brunch and baseball is perfect. His laptop has so many tabs open it emits steam, and somewhere in the chaos is a Google Doc titled, I broke up with my girlfriend because she said OPS was a fancy word for batting average. For tonight's action, Brian Bayo took the mound like a man trying to collect rent from the Royals. 6 innings, no earned runs, and all of it smoother than a Mariano Rivera documentary. His fastball had more late life than most Kansas City playoff hopes. Trevor Story added a hit and an RBI, continuing his I swear I'm still worth it tour. It wasn't flashy, but it wasn't 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts either, and we'll take it as a progress. Cedine Rafaela patrolled center field like its childhood trauma was tied to a poorly fielded fly ball. He robbed hits, makes throws, and casually added an RBI like it was part of his morning coffee routine. With this win, the Red Sox moved to 63 and 51, sit atop the AL wildcard standings, and extend their win streak to 6 games. Fans are now cautiously optimistic, not hopeful, mind you, but cautiously Googling how to DFA Jorge Alcala with one hand while tweeting we might be good with the other. Let's get into it. Nick Diamond, let's start with you. What's your takeaway for tonight's win against the Royals?
I expected to win against Bailey Falter. The guys who we needed to hit the left-handed pitcher did it. Ref Snyder looked good. Romy Gonzalez looked good. They both had 2 hits each. So they did everything I expected them to do. The bullpen, Alcala let us down, but we all expected that. And then Justin Wilson had a bad outing today, but I guess he was due. He's been nails lately. He's been one of our best relievers out of the pen besides Chapman and Whitlock. So I guess he was due one. But besides that, the offense showed up. The guys who were supposed to hit the left-handed starter showed out. I guess there is a concern about Roman Anthony, but I think we'll get into that later. But overall, it was a good day.
Nick Face, your opening takes on tonight's win.
Wilyer Abreu and Jaron Duran can hit a lefty. They can hit him. Duran with the 3-run shot. Wilyer Abreu had 2 hits off of Falter. Now, I understand these aren't the premier guys that are left-handed studs here in the AL. I get it. But these are great steps here into getting these guys confidence in knowing that they aren't just an automatic out when they're up in the lineup. Wilyer Abreu wasn't even in tonight's lineup. That was a late scratch. He was in Roman Anthony's spot, and I know we're going to be talking about that. And maybe I would have questioned, why didn't Cora just put out a new lineup card? But he rolled the dice, just like I'm doing here. I rolled the dice, and it comes up with Wilyer Abreu as your number 3 hitter tonight against a lefty. So that was great to see. I thought Brian Bayo was good. I didn't love his outing. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought there was a lot of tinkering, and he did get out of some big jams, which he was very fortunate with. But he got through it. He gave you 6 innings. I know he was at 102 pitches. I would have might have stretched that out a little bit, and I may have even stretched out more of Steven Matz. I might have had him start at least the 8th, because I can't stand, and I call him this just to be funny, I say Alfalfa from the Little Rascals. I want to give him a nice spanky right down to Worcester right now.
Nick Diamond.
We have a Roman Anthony update. Alex Cora said Roman Anthony won't play tomorrow, but should be fine. They won't send him. They will not send him for an MRI.
Yeah, so just a little tidbit on that. He was complaining of mid back pain, so that's considered your thoracic spine. It's basically from where your shoulders begin to almost before your waist or your belt. And so that area typically is one that doesn't get MRI'd very often because if there are any slip discs in that area, there's really not a lot that can be done in the thoracic spine outside of some chiropractic and some physical rehab. So my guess is it's not serious, but you know what? He is such an important part of this team that they are not going to take any chances with him at all in any stretch of the imagination. So my takeaway will probably be that they'll give him tomorrow off, reevaluate, and then have him in there for Game 3. But you know what? It is the Royals. Tomorrow with Crochet going, you kind of hope you don't need a lot of runs scored. So, keep him out of the game maybe for the series and then have him ready to go for San Diego. Nick, any other comments on Roman Anthony that you'd like to give us tonight?
I just think this was all precautionary. I don't think there's any concern here. I think because he's so valuable to this team, they're taking those extra steps to make sure nothing happens to him. So I know we talk about the Red Sox medical mash unit a lot, more so with sometimes the pitchers. I know Marcelo Myers' whole thing is up in arms rather, but I think I'd rather be cautious here just to make sure he doesn't go down for an extended time. Because if that happens, that'd just be the worst thing ever.
Just because we're on the medical side of things, I just want to point out there was a tweet. I got home real late, so I want to just make sure I got this right. Nick Diamond, Liam Hendricks basically railroad the medical staff? Did I read that correctly?
He basically said, I think Alex Cora said there's a good chance he won't be pitching again this year, and then Liam Hendricks said that's the first I'm hearing of that. So Liam Hendricks basically said he expects to pitch again this year, and I don't know if I didn't read the articles or anything, but I don't know if it was that the pitching staff told him no, or Alex Cora just basically told him it's time to pack your bags. You're not that good anymore.
Well, that goes without saying. Nick Face, I think you actually posted that tweet. Could you
Yeah.
elaborate on what you saw?
Oh, I laughed when I saw it. This guy has no place to be criticizing anybody. I mean, let's not forget back in May, this whole thing that came out with, oh, well, you pitched me too much, so that's the reason why my hip blew out. The guy's a tool bag. I know he's been through a lot, and I give him total credit in the world. He fought cancer and everything. He had the whole thing with the arm, with the Tommy John. But this tool bag needs to go. He needs to go. And he will be pitching again, Jim, at some point this season. It'll just be with the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, look, it's a great story. You can't take anything away from him. Anybody that can battle cancer and come back from it, as from a personal standpoint, hats off to him. I wish him all the health in the world. But from a professional standpoint, I don't want anything to do with him on this team. I think he's a clubhouse issue as much as Devers and Casas has been. And lo and behold, these three guys are not on the team right now, and the Red Sox are having a pretty good second half. So I don't know if there's anything to that or not, but the reality is that without him here, I think it's better. And every time I see any kind of tweet involving him, it just seems like it's a cry for more publicity. He's an attention seeker, and I think that's part of the problem with him. And we don't need attention seekers. We need ball players. That's all I'm going to say about that. Getting back into Bailey faltering in the first inning, four innings pitched, 8 hits, 7 earned runs, including the Duran bomb. Duran's been heating up quite a bit in this middle of the lineup area. I mean, today he was batting seventh, but which is quite surprising. But he seems to be enjoying hitting deeper into the lineup as opposed to leading off. Nick Face, what are you seeing from Duran? Is he coming back and being that all-star that we saw last year?
I don't think we're at the level of all-star like last year, but I'm seeing steps into the right place, meaning that he's making adjustments up at the plate. Tonight, big time with the lefty. That was huge. That's a confidence builder for him. I think the reasoning why Cora has lowered him down, especially against lefties, is he needs to get the confidence up. He's been absolute dog crap against left-handed pitching this entire season. I mean, he's right around that 200. He's very close to dropping down below that 200 level, and you don't want to see that. What I also want to point out too is there was I think it was in the sixth or seventh, the Royals had another one of their lefties out of the bullpen come out, and a typical pitch that would have been struck out with going up and in, he actually grounded it over to third, and Garcia made a really good play at third base. Duran almost beat it out. And I like that approach from him. I'll take that every day because he's putting the ball in play. You got to utilize his wheels, and you got to see him get on base. And it was very close for him to be being safe on that play. Maybe a footstep away. So that's a difference that I want to see a little bit more from him. He's a difference maker. We all know it. It's just a matter of putting the ball in play, and we need that consistency to be there. I want to see the next stage of Duran with driving the ball the opposite way, especially at Fenway. We saw last year when he was on, that ball was getting tattooed over the monster and off the monster. Use that wall effectively, and that will start to trigger me believing that Duran can get back to that all-star level player he was last season.
Switching gears a little bit to Brian Bayo's start. Nick Face, I know you had a little bit of comment, but I want to switch to Nick Diamond. Nick, what did you see with Brian Bayo tonight? Was it more of the same? Do you think he's taken the next level to be a front of the end starter?
I think he looked fine. Offensively, I don't think the Royals are anything special. I think he's been the same kind of guy he has been over the last 6 to 8 starts. He's been good enough. 6 innings, 1 run. I think when he was first coming out of the minor leagues, we thought he was going to be a front end of the rotation guy, maybe a 1 or a 2 that gets a lot of swing and miss, will generate a lot of strikeouts, and go 210 innings. But that's not going to happen anymore. I don't think he's a top of the rotation guy. I don't even think he's a 2, but I think he's a very good number 3 going forward. He's not going to get a ton of strikeouts. He doesn't get a lot of swing and misses, but he does. He's efficient enough to go through 6 innings, 1 run, 2 runs, and that's everything you could ask for out of a 3 or 4 guy in your rotation. So maybe he is a disappointment when we had all these high expectations from coming out of the minor leagues, but still Brian Bayo is good enough. He's got a 3.3 ERA, and I can't ask for much more out of him. He's matured over the last 20, 25 starts so far, so I'm very happy about that.
The Boston Red Sox are 11-9 in his starts, but when you look at some of his lines here against the Twins in July, 7 innings, 1 earned run. The Dodgers, 5 1/3, 3 earned runs. Against the Cubs, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. Tampa Bay, 6 1/3, 1 earned run. Colorado, 9 innings, 2 earned runs. Cincinnati, 5 innings, 2 earned runs. So he's giving you quality starts just about every time out. And I think that's the most you can ask for a guy that's not a number 1 or a number 2. So, I mean, if he's a mid-rotation starter and he's going to give you a quality start every time, I mean, you'll take that because he's going to keep you in the ball game. He's not going to be down early and give your offense a chance to win the game and keep the game in hand. So I'm really pleased with his season. I think he's taken a step forward, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, right now it looks like the Red Sox won this contract. Nick Face, go ahead.
There's a major point that I don't think we've talked about on the pod since our existence on Bayo that I think needs to be a point that we're addressing here. The biggest change outside of maturity and confidence and just learning how to pitch and understand how to work through different troubles instead of not blowing up on the mound. Brian Bayo finally has his wife and kids here in the States, and that has not happened for whatever reason it is. I think it's a visa issue or whatnot, but Alex Cora made it a point to talk about the difference that Bayo has that support now. And I didn't think about that just as Major League Baseball players in general. They typically don't have their families or their kids or anything with them a lot of the times. And it made me think about, wow, that actually is a valid point, because I'm sure when you don't have that support, you feel like the whole world's against you. And what are you going to do to get through the adversity and get through those trying times? So that definitely is a big reason why the turnaround here with Bayo. So yeah, I do think that Bayo can, if everything is going right in his world, can take that next level and keep showing us all this hype that we've been seeing. This has definitely been his best season that we have seen here. I am at the point where I could even entertain him being at a 2 right now. I have to tell you. Yes, you've heard it here. You heard it here. You heard it out of my mouth. I'm saying it.
Well, Nick, last night you did say on the show that you felt very confident going into the first game with Bayo, starting, and that's something that a lot of us haven't had in terms of the confidence level in him or anyone not named Garrett Crochet. I mean, let's be honest. It's been kind of a crapshoot with most of these guys, but the first game back after the All-Star break with Giolito, we were a little bit worried. He was giving up home runs left and right. Brian Bayo gave up home runs in that Chicago series. So it was a little bit nerve-wracking. And to their credit, they figured it out. They didn't let that become an ongoing issue and spiral downward for, 2, 3, 4 starts in a row and put us really into a situation where we were outside the wild card looking up. So they've been able to correct that, and hats off to them. So something's going right in that regard. So maybe Breslow actually knew what the hell he was doing at that point. It's hard to say. But I do want to switch gears a little bit on the bullpen. An 8-1 lead in this game, and then we had the bullpen blunder happen. Nick Diamond, take me through a little bit of what your reaction was to Alcala and moving forward. I know you touched on it a little bit before, but give me some more details.
Well, now this is the 4th consecutive outing where Jorge Alcala has come into a game with a clean inning and hasn't got 3 outs. And he's had to bring in someone else to clean up his mess. Today was Justin Wilson, who didn't look great. And then they had to force Garrett Whitlock and Aroldis Chapman into the game. And you can only go to those guys so many times before they get tired out, blow their arms out, and something bad happens. Aroldis Chapman's having one of the best closer seasons of all time. But if you pitch him 75, 80 times, he's eventually going to have a couple blow-up outings. I know you love how great he is, how dominant he is out there, and how confident we feel every time he comes into a game that the game's over. But eventually he's going to have one of these blow-up outings, and it's because Jorge Alcala can't do his job and can't get 3 outs. His job is to go out there, get 3 outs, and he can give up a run. He can give up 2 runs, but he can't go out there and give up 4 or 5 runs and walk the bases loaded and give up piss rods every few games. It just can't happen. Jorge Alcala was the odd man out. It was not Brendan Bernardino. It wasn't Murphy. I don't know why Breslow and Cora came to the decision that Bernardino was the odd man out when Jorge Alcala has been bad for a while now.
I think the only answer I have is because Alcala's right-handed. I mean, other than that, I really don't have another answer for you. Nick Face, what's your take on that?
I'm still absolutely stunned at the fact that Bernardino went down when the trade deadline happened, when we saw the rosters come out Friday, and Alcala somehow survived this. Jim, it's the exact reason. He's a right-handed arm. The Red Sox also traded a prospect. I can't remember exactly who it was, but they traded somebody for him. So I was hearing a little bit online that it's not likely they're going to DFA him because the Red Sox, in a way, invested in him. So that's fine. Invest in him down in Worcester. But I'm all set. If I see him again in another outing, my remote's probably going to go through my TV. That's probably what's going to happen. But overall, I can't stand on the broadcast. I think Lou Maloney gets paid to just say how great Alcala's been. It drives me insane. What is Lou Maloney watching? All I've seen out of Alcala is low leverage situations coming into, at least when he first came, and got the job done passively. And now he gets a little bit of It seems like as soon as Minnesota happened, everything went on a tailspin for him. The Red Sox felt, oh, let's give him a little bit of high leverage situations, and then there's no control, or the ball is just thrown right down Broadway that's screaming, hit me out of the park. And there is just no mystery with anything coming out of his arm right now. And that's at the point where you have to make a tough decision. And I'd be very surprised if come tomorrow you actually see him on this roster. It'd be a bad mistake if he is.
I've had my issues with Lou since he's been with Nesson. I think he's been a little bit less controversial. When he was with WEEI, I used to listen to Mutt and Merlone in the afternoon daily. It was my favorite show. And then that was even before I switched over to Felger and Maz. But I've got to be honest with you, at that point, he was more critical. You had Angry Lou coming out, and you're just not seeing that anymore. If I had a nickel for every time he said now, oh, Red Sox Nation, you wanted them to DFA Story, Cedon Rafaela, and Lucas Giolito. Where would you be now? He's said that every time he's on the broadcast, and he's been tweeting it. Lou, I still love you, but it's getting a little old now. So we get your point.
The thing I want Lou Merlone to be, and I really loved how Jerry Remy balanced it out, because he could be critical at times, and then he could be the homer at times that says, I love this person or whatnot. Why can't he take a little lesson out of the Remy playbook here? I don't get it. Is it because he has to kiss John Henry's butt because John Henry writes his check all the time? Jerry Remy didn't have to do it. They let him get away with whatever he could. That leads me to believe that there is more to the story that's happening behind closed doors with Nesson and the Red Sox since the buffoon Sam Kennedy has taken over this team. I smell Sam Kennedy on this more than I do Henry.
Yeah, look, I mean, the same thing happened with Tony Maserati. When he got on there, he toned it down quite a bit, both on the Nesson broadcast and on Felger and Maz and the baseball hour. So, I like Tony for what Tony is, and he doesn't pull any punches, and I just don't like to see the softness happen, and that's what you're getting. So, I mean,
We also got Shrimp Cocktail Friday night in John Henry's booth. Did any of you see that?
Oh, yeah, well, of course.
Made me want to throw up.
What really upsets me too about this outing is that with the lead that you had, there was no reason that you had to go to Whitlock or Chapman, and this is the type of game that you want to be able to have in the bag and avoid those guys. So, I don't know what you can do to bring in the right guys that are just going to be able to mop up on a winning side of the scoreboard and have that reliability. I mean, obviously, Ocala has really been slumping of late. Justin Wilson has been really, really good all season, but he's had a couple clunkers. Steve Matz, for all it's been worth, has been pretty good since he got here. He did have a little bit of traffic today. He had that walk, but, he got out of it. So I just don't want them using Whitlock and Chapman in games that they don't need to do. And you're going to need these guys down the stretch, and they've got to stay strong. The only thing I can tell you that I am happy about is that they've, I think, discovered that Garrett Whitlock cannot go more than one inning, and in order to maintain his effectiveness is to keep him 3 outs or less, because he's been probably one of the best weapons outside of Chapman that they've had in that bullpen. Nick Diamond, your thoughts on those comments?
Well, yeah, it's really embarrassing. It's 4 times in a row that Akala has done this. He can't get out of the inning that he was given. He's only been given low leverage innings. It's not like we're giving him innings in the 8th inning with a 1-run lead. We're asking him to hold 6, 7 run leads. Like, this is something a position player could realistically do. All you got to do is not walk some guys, and hopefully they hit them at each other. Hit them right at our fielders. It's not something that's super hard. Alcala can't be on the roster tomorrow. Your thoughts on Whitlock? They finally figured out how to use him. They were toying around with him in the starting rotation as a 2-inning guy out there. This is exactly where he needs to be. He's our 8th inning guy. Chapman's our 9th inning guy, and we have those 2 innings set going down the stretch. We just need to figure out 7th. It was Justin Wilson, but I don't know how much you can fall at him. He hasn't been a late inning guy throughout his career. He's always been a mid inning kind of guy. So if you can get Slayton back, hopefully that'd be great. If not, you got to find someone else out there, because Akala is not going to be one of them no matter what. Max has been okay. I still don't think he has any swing and miss stuff against right-handed hitting. To me, if you're going to use him in a high leverage situation, it's only for like a string of 2 or 3 lefties in a row. I'm not letting him face a very good right-handed hitter with the game on the line. So I guess that's my thoughts on the bullpen. Akala has to go. I think everyone agrees with that.
You know, I referenced this a lot, and I know it's a little bit before maybe both of your times, but in 1990, the Cincinnati Reds won the World Series, and they won it behind not only starter Jose Rijo, but they won it behind a what was called the Nasty Boys in their bullpen. It was Norm Charlton, Randy Myers, and Rob Dibble, who, by the way, Rob Dibble went to my high school. But that's besides the point. The idea here was is that once you got past, you had 6 innings to try to win a ball game against that team, and if you didn't, it was totally over. The 3 of them were the Nasty Boys because they were nasty. I mean, when you've seen Chapman at his best, those 3 guys were coming out of the bullpen 7-8-9, 7-8-9 every night, and it's been a love of mine ever since I saw them do that. And I've always said that if you could build a team by having 2 number 1 starters at the top, a solid 7, 8, and 9, and then offensively a good 3 and 4 hitter and a good center fielder, you could win, the majority of the games you're going to play. And if you look at the Red Sox World Series titles, that's what they had every single time, all 4 years, as they had those what I just mentioned. So if they can find a reliable number, 7th inning guy to do this on a nightly basis, they have the potential to go deep into October, I believe. Um, Talking about around the league a little bit as we start the scoreboard watch. Try to get a little bit of an update on what's going on with all our friends here. Looks like the Yankees are still up 5-4 on the Rangers in the top of the ninth. The Rays are losing in the third to the Angels. Blue Jays up 9-1. That's probably going to be game that's in the bag there too. So I don't think we're going to pick up any kind of ground on the Blue Jays tonight. Nick Face, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. You took care of the job. You got the win. That was the most important thing to start the series off right. You used too many of your high leverage guys. I need to see Crochet go 6, 7 innings tomorrow, because then it's going to come down to who's closing. You're not going to see Chapman back out there. You're not going to see Whitlock tomorrow. So that means you're going to need Chris Murphy, Greg Weissert, and Jordan Death Hicks as your closer. Or maybe they flip-flop. Maybe Weissert is the closer tomorrow night. Maybe that's what they do.
Nick Diamond, your thoughts on tomorrow's game?
Well, my first thoughts are on the rest of the league. The only team we should be worried about is the Blue Jays. Now that we're in the first wild card, the Yankees don't do anything for me. The Rays, I think, are totally out of it. Right now, I'm focusing on trying to take down the Blue Jays. And for tomorrow's game, Garrett Crochet needs to go out there, go 7 innings, shove it against an inferior team, a team that's not as good as you, a team that can't hit very well. Like you said about the bullpen, I don't think both of them will be unavailable. I think Cora will leave one of them available, either Whitlock or Chapman, whoever he sees needs less rest. And then, like you said, we're going to need Weissert to throw a nice center inning. Steven Matz will probably still be available again. So they'll probably have to mix and match down there. But hopefully Crochet goes 7, and then you only need probably 1 inning, and then Chapman or Whitlock at the end.
Yeah, I think Whitlock could go again tomorrow. He only had 1/3 of an inning, 9 pitches, 5 strikes. So I think if it's a desperation situation and it's a 3-2 game in the ninth or something of that nature, I think Cora would be more than willing to go and give it to him. But I do think they'll stay away from Chapman, and have him ready for the San Diego series. With that being said, Nick Face, any closing takes or things that you want to talk about before we wrap up?
I did have a tweet that went out to Nesson during the 8th inning, I believe it was. There was a review call that Nesson just decided to go right to commercial yet again. That's 2 games in a row. We missed the dugout eruption, little fight, little jab that was going on. And now we miss the whole play being called at home. Nesson is more concerned about how many commercials they can shove down our throat than the game. And all they could do during their commercials is let us all know that tomorrow's the women's broadcast game, so get ready for all that. It's sickening sometimes to me. It's sickening. It definitely ticked me off already. So I already was ticked off from the eighth inning. Let's be honest here with Alcala, and then this just put me over the top. So now I'm still heated.
Nick
Even though we won.
Diamond, Nick Diamond, your closing thoughts for tonight.
63 wins. That's the third most in the American League. You know, we're finally up there with the top tier teams. So keep the gas, keep it going. You got to sweep the Royals, go into the Padres series, and prove that you're a better team than them. Because if record-wise, you are.
Yeah,
That's all I
absolutely.
gotta say. Just stay up there and keep it rolling.
Yeah, so the Red Sox now are 38-21 at home. So I think they tie their 2024 win total at home, and we're only on August 4th. Very encouraging if you're a Red Sox fan. They've really done well at home to be, 17 games over 500 at home. They just got to do a little bit better on the road. If they can kind of get 500 or a little bit above that, I think you're going to be in great shape. And it's just about winning your crochet games, winning your Bayo games, having Giolito stay in there, and then get something out of your 4 and 5 guys. And I think we're pretty good. So let's see if we had any more comments. Just from one gentleman here, he just talked about, do we need to be worried about Rome? And we did talk about that earlier. So just go ahead and find that in the feed if you can, first 5-6 minutes of the show. With that being said, I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. Please go ahead and subscribe to our digital product at RedSoxDigest.com. We have daily articles, a lot of recaps on the night games from the day before, as well as Fenway flashback from Thayer as he chronicles the 1975 season, which is 50 years ago, which is hard to believe. In any event, have a great night, everybody, and we will see you on Wednesday.